Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm excited to do. It's going to be another 2019 wrap-up video, but for this week's topic, we're going to be chatting about some of the biggest makeup flops of 2019. So I wasn't initially planning to do this video. Of course, I'm doing, best and worst. Last week I posted my top 10 makeup regrets of makeup purchases that I bought throughout the year, so I'll link that video down below. I've done the best affordable makeup of 2019. But as I've been going back and watching my older videos, I keep finding myself so many times thinking, I kind of forgot all about that release, or whatever happened to that release? How come nobody talked about it? And so as I was going along and it kept happening, I was like, let's just go ahead and make a video about it. So I have 10 makeup releases here that launched in 2019 that, in my humble opinion, I feel like were a little bit of a flop. I would love to know your thoughts on some of these releases that I'm going to chat about, what you think was not such a well-received makeup launch in the year of 2019, and why don't we go ahead and get started. One release that I pretty much completely forgot all about, and it wasn't until I was going back through my videos, and especially I was also clicking on my Will I Buy It videos. I do this Will I Buy It series every single week, chatting over new makeup releases. I actually just finished filming for this week's video, actually, but I kept clicking on those two, even though I was kind of looking at, best and worst makeup, but I just wanted to remind myself of what came out throughout the year, because obviously 365 days, that's a lot of days to keep track of, and especially in 2019, there was so many new launches, so many new collections, so many new collaborations, so many new brands coming out. I mean, like, every celebrity was coming out with a new makeup line in 2019, so I wanted to just really be able to be as well informed as I could when I was making these videos, so I researched real hard. Might have enjoyed a few glasses of wine while I was doing this research, but when this one came up from Kylie Cosmetics, when she did a collaboration with her mom, this was like the Momager collection, I have completely forgot about that, and I feel like I really didn't hear anybody chatting about that one. I do want to put out one disclaimer. I try not to do a lot of disclaimers because I know that they can get annoying, but you're probably going to hear me throughout this video be like, I've never heard anyone talking about that, or da 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 da. I don't truly mean like no one in like the literal sense of not one person spoke about it. It's kind of a broad term, being a little bit more general, because I'm sure people talked about it, especially when it comes to PR. But also, I'm just one person, and I watch a lot of people on YouTube. My watch later list is insane right now. I have a lot of people I consider friends on YouTube also, but I cannot physically watch every single person's YouTube channel. So if I say that, I really don't mean like not one person actually talked about it. So just want to throw it out there. But I really do feel like with the Kylie collection, which came out for Mother's Day in 2019, I really don't feel like I heard anyone chatting about that besides the people who did receive it in PR. And I also feel like it kind of got like a little bit of like lackluster reviews. And after it came out and after the initial launch and the PR packages were open and shown on YouTube, I don't feel like I've seen anyone in any tutorial be like, oh, and now I'm reaching for the Momager palette, or any of the other products that were in the collection. I was like, whatever happened with this one? Luckily for Kylie Cosmetics, I think that she still did okay in 2019. I'm not going to say that she was really successful. I'm not going to say that she had a banner year in 2019. No, being a self-made billionaire, I really don't think is that big of a deal. So really, I feel like the Momager release, really hurt her brand, really caused her to go downhill, and I really don't see a successful future for Kylie Cosmetics. That's a joke. That's a joke if you don't get my humor, because Kylie is doing just fine. So is Chris, so is Kim. They all doing fine. They're gonna make it work. Next up, I had on my list the Too Faced and Madonna collaboration. So this came out around fall time of this year, and Madonna was getting ready to go on a tour, and she did this collaboration with Too Faced, and it was supposed to be like makeup that she was also going to be wearing on tour. And there was a handful of different items in the collection, and when I initially saw that Madonna and Too Faced were collabing, I was like, maybe not a collaboration that I saw coming, but I feel like Too Faced, I feel like I understand their name as being Too Faced, because they have this very like cutesy, almost like I want to say childlike, but in a nice way. But you know what I mean, with like the Clover releases and all of that. And then you have like the complete other side where they did that collaboration with Erica Jane, the housewife, and it was like had the caution tape all over it, and there was some real naughty words being said in that collection. And I was like, oh girl, what you doing? So it's like they have these like split personalities when it comes to their launches. So I was like, okay, Madonna probably will fall into the second one. But her collaboration, to me at least, didn't speak Madonna at all. And I can understand where that comes from business-wise. I kind of just touched about this with Lady Gaga and with her new eyeshadow palette and with House Labs. Like, I didn't really feel like the eyeshadow palette really, I wouldn't look at it and think Lady Gaga, but I think it made sense business-wise, and people like neutral palettes and, you know, thought it was a good business decision. But instead of this being a brand where there's going to be multiple releases, this was a collaboration. I felt like this could have been so different and done in just a different way to speak more to Madonna and who she is and this persona that she created and her identity that, you know, I mean, I definitely have some images when I think of Madonna, and when I looked at her collection, I didn't see that at all. I thought it was very safe, and I was just a little bit surprised. I just would have expected something way different. And this is another collection and collaboration that I just feel like I really didn't hear anything about after it launched. I heard a lot of people in the Will I Buy It series. I have a community playlist where creators who make the new releases style video can add theirs, and I binge watched that like crazy. And I was hearing a lot of people say the same thing, like you wouldn't have expected that collaboration to be coming from Madonna. But I really didn't see anyone using the collection. I don't know if maybe not a lot of PR went out, because truly I didn't even see a lot of like PR unboxings or hauls with that collection. So I don't know, that one was kind of a strange one. And then another one I had on my list was from Colourpop. This is a palette and a collection that I pretty much completely forgot about, and it wasn't until I was going back through all my videos, and especially again the Will I Buy It series, that I was like, that's weird, how come no one talks about that palette? And that is their Peach collection. So they came out with the Baby Got Peach palette, and this was in August, I believe, of this year. Now, of course, I saw a ton of PR videos and hauls and, you know, eye swatches and all of that. So I definitely saw those videos going up, but I feel like there's so many Colourpop focused videos because Colourpop comes out with so much. I just hear a lot about, especially their palettes in general, and I see, you know, best of Colourpop videos, I see Colourpop haul videos, and I really feel like I see a lot of the same palettes being mentioned again and again, but I haven't really seen much about this Peach collection to the point where I truly did forget about it. Now, once again, Colourpop has a ton of releases. They always give us so many different options to choose from. There's really something for everybody when it comes to Colourpop. Their 9-pan monochromatic palettes I think were very successful this year. They've done collaborations that were very successful, of course, so Colourpop is another one that is doing okay. But I just feel like with the Peach collection, that is a palette especially that I don't hear a ton about. What do you think? Another collaboration that I feel like wasn't super well received in 2019 was from Urban Decay, and that was their Game of Thrones collection. I remember when this was first being kind of teased to us and we knew a Game of Thrones collection was coming, I was like, people are gonna lose their ish over this collection because people who love Game of Thrones love Game of Thrones. And I was almost a little nervous, like in my Will I Buy It, to be like, I actually don't watch Game of Thrones. I was like, people are gonna be throwing tomatoes at me, they're gonna be so upset with me. But I mean, the comments were kind of split. A lot of people also said, you know, they didn't really get into it either, or you just simply don't watch, like I just don't even really watch a lot of TV or movies or anything like that, so I'm not usually up to date on that sort of thing. But then the comments of people who were like, I love Game of Thrones, they were like, how can you not watch this? And I truly thought this collection was going to be amazing. I thought it was going to be so well received. And I don't want to say that this one was like a huge flop, because I do think that it did see some success. I think a lot of people who were collectors and once again really big fans of the show, I think that they supported the collection and really wanted that palette. But a lot of the feedback that I heard through my videos and watching other videos on this collection was a lot of the people who were the true fans and big supporters of the show felt let down by the collection. once again, it felt like there was more that could have been done, and so I just really didn't see the best feedback on it. And a reason, like one of the bigger reasons too, that I decided to put this in this video is that I really don't hear about it anymore. And it could be because it was so limited edition. It's really, you know, can't really find it anymore, and sometimes that can hurt, especially when, you know, another disclaimer, sorry, number 2, but I am really kind of focusing on like the online beauty community and industry over here when it comes to if something was successful or flopped, because something could not do well in this online community, but it sold so well at other retailers, you know, for kind of like the general public who maybe isn't obsessed with watching makeup videos, right? So that's just another thing that I want to suggest to keep in mind. But, you know, maybe this went over really well with the general public who saw it in stores and was like, I absolutely have to have that. I love Game of Thrones. But I felt like, especially online, it just kind of stopped being talked about. And again, the limited edition could come into play. I know a lot of YouTubers, myself included, we find it kind of hard to continue to talk about limited edition makeup when you can't purchase it anymore, because people tend to get upset, or, you know, even if I link something that I'm wearing and people can't get it, they're like, oh, I wish that wasn't limited edition, or do you know a dupe for that, or things like that. So that could come into play there. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I went back and forth on putting this one on my list, but I just feel like I don't hear about it a ton anymore, and I just feel like the feedback that it initially got, I didn't think was super successful. This is another one that I pretty much 100% forgot about until I was going back through my older videos. The Lululemon self-care line. Now this is available at Sephora. It launched in the summer, so Lululemon is really well known for like their activewear and yoga wear and all of that. But they came out with a self-care line. It had like deodorant and dry shampoo. There was like a lip balm. And I remember when it first came out, looking back at my videos, I can remember talking about it in a Will I Buy It video and just being like, I get it, kind of makes sense. I'm not a Lululemon type of girl. I mean, I love yoga and I love working out, but I've never really got into the Lululemon craze like I know so many of my girlfriends have. So I don't know, their self-care products are just kind of like meh. And as I was researching this video, I actually looked on the Sephora website at the products that they have, and they really don't have great reviews. A lot of them had 2-star, 2.5-star reviews, maybe 3. I don't think anything had a 5-star review on there. So once again, like I said, I can't physically watch everybody on YouTube, and that's impossible, and I don't connect with everybody, and you know, I'm just a normal person with 24 hours in a day, and I do a lot of other things too besides just watch YouTube videos. But I watch quite a lot of people and quite a variety of people, and I don't know if I've seen one person from the people that I watch that have talked about it at all besides in a new releases style video. So I would love to know if you guys tried anything from Lululemon, but I feel like this one was kind of a flop in 2019. I'll just touch on real quickly because I think we know, and I think I would have felt kind of like a liar if I didn't include this in a 2019 flops video, but the Jaclyn Hill lipsticks, I don't even think I really have to go that in depth about it. I think if we watch YouTube videos, you might understand what happened there, but that definitely was a fail. It was, you know, it was nice to see her turnaround and be able to launch a new product and launch the highlights and all of that. I'm still not a super big fan of how everything was handled. I don't think there was a real solid definitive answer of what even happened with the lipsticks and how to make sure something like that doesn't happen again, but I'm never rooting for someone to fail. I like to see the positives in people, so it was nice to see that she was able to pick herself back up and like keep moving forward and all of that. But I do wish the entire situation was handled a little bit differently. But also, I mean, I feel like that had to be included in this video, truly. But moving on, we don't need to spend too much time on that because we know. Moving on, the Smashbox like crystal collection, this launched in the spring. This was actually a collaboration, and there was a lot of really beautiful packaging with this. Crystals were definitely a big thing in 2019. Definitely the Zodiac was like so huge for 2019, but crystals also kind of had their time to shine. But this was just another collection that, again, kind of same thing I'm saying. I feel like I'm going to get kind of repetitive from this point out, but just didn't see a lot of people talking about it. I did see some PR hauls with it mentioned, but other than that, didn't really see a whole lot going on there. So I feel like that collection wasn't the best received either from Smashbox. They have a lot of products that I really do enjoy from them, and so I feel, you know, once again, I feel like Smashbox is doing just fine, but that collection I just don't feel like did much. For Huda Beauty, I initially wrote down her Tantour. When I was going through my past videos, and at one point I was talking about the Tantour, I was like, I don't really hear a lot of people talking about that one. But when I was actually looking through all of her new releases of the year, I actually thought her all over body highlight, it was called like the Nymph, like Not Your Mother's Pantyhose was the name of it. I don't feel like that one did very well, and I'm almost a little bit surprised because I feel like body oils, body highlights, body makeup, I mean, KKW Beauty came out with like the whole body makeup line and everything. I feel like those were a really big hit in 2019. I don't know if, because this one launched a little bit I think it was like late spring, early summer, I think is when this one came out. I don't know if it was a timing thing, because to me this one was a little bit before a lot of the other brands really started getting on that craze. I don't know if it was too early. I don't know if it just straight was not a good product. I think this one only had like an average of 3-star reviews on the Sephora website, but I really don't hear a lot of people talk about it. But truly also the Tantour, I don't hear a ton of, but I feel like the Not Your Mother's Pantyhose, that one was, that's even more forgotten about than the Tantour. I just have 2 more left. This one, I was thinking about Tarte. There was a couple of brands that I thought I would include in here, but I feel like they're just brands that have kind of been lost by the wayside for me. I mentioned Becca Cosmetics in last week's Will I Buy It video. I just don't really feel like a lot of the releases called to me a ton. MAC is another brand that I just feel like their releases don't really excite me a lot. When I was trying to think of flops, I mean, I feel like I just kind of had a lot to mention from some of these other brands, and I kind of felt bad because I like to bring a lot of positivity to my videos. I just kind of have that outlook on life. I always try to find like the positives, and that's why I wanted to mention a lot of these brands too, because I feel like a lot of them are still obviously like doing really well, or have had great releases even after some of the flops and all of that. So that's why I wanted to touch on these and not make it too much of a negative video where I'm just like straight just like being mean, because I don't know, that's just like not really my thing, okay? But with the Tarte, that was another brand that I initially was going to just skip over because I don't know, I feel like Tarte's just been doing like strange things for a while now, and not a lot of the releases I feel like are super successful. But when I was actually looking at their website, just like make sure, just peeking over everything, this palette jumped out at me. This is called the Fall Feels Eye and Cheek palette. This retails for $25. It's still currently available on the Sephora site, and I feel like I truly never heard of this palette. I went back through my Will I Buy It. I couldn't find myself talking about this palette. I'm like, where did this come from? Obviously it probably came out sometime around fall time, but I don't recall seeing anything about this one. So I just thought that was kind of bizarre, so that's why I decided to sneak this one in here. But again, it looked like a nice palette. The outer packaging looked nice. The inside, I mean, it wasn't anything like super crazy or head turning or anything, but it looked like a decent palette for $25. I was like, am I the only one that did not hear about this palette? Am I the only one that missed talking about this in a Will I Buy It video? That could most definitely be the case, because I'm not always on top of my game every week. Like, there's some weeks where I'm just like, ugh, or some weeks that I'm just straight up busy or out of town or something like that. So there's times where I definitely miss new releases, but usually I'm just like late talking about them. I don't just 100% miss them, but I gotta know, did you guys know about the Tarte Fall Feels palette? Did you purchase it? What did you think of it? Or is anyone else like me and you're just like, huh? 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 I just have one more left on my list to chat about, and those are from BH Cosmetics, and this was the mini Zodiac palettes that they did. So these mini palettes came out whenever we moved into a new season. So, you know, we had, you know, Aries and Aquarius and Cancer and Gemini and all of those palettes, and I just feel like from the beginning of when these launched at the beginning of 2019, almost none of them were very well received online, of course. And I mean, that's just me watching other videos, that's me looking at my comment section, that's me looking at the tags I get on Instagram. I feel like these just kind of were a pretty big flop, a pretty big miss in 2019, which is super sad. I think BH Cosmetics is a nice brand. They keep things really affordable. They come out with a lot of different products. Again, like Colourpop, they kind of have a little bit for everyone, which is awesome, and keeping prices affordable, that's great. A lot of their products are available at Ulta Beauty. They did so many collaborations in 2019, which was obviously very exciting, but I feel like their Zodiac mini palettes were just a miss. I think there was only maybe 2 off the top of my head that I remember being like, that's not bad. That's all right. But every time I'd mention a new one in a Will I Buy It video, people who are, especially if that was your sign, they would be so angry. They would be so angry about the palettes. And yeah, I feel like I really couldn't post this video without talking about the BH Cosmetics mini palettes. I feel bad about that, but I kind of feel bad about this whole video, but you know, it's just makeup. It's just in good fun. Again, all of these brands, everyone that I mentioned, I still feel like is doing well and has had successful releases throughout the year, and I feel like will continue to have successful releases in 2020. But I would love to know, what did you think were just some makeup misses throughout the year? Some collections, collaborations, just simple releases that you were like, that kind of missed the mark majority wise. You know, of course, we're all different. We all have different preferences. We're all looking for something different when it comes to makeup releases. So this was a very general video. I probably mentioned something that you really enjoyed, but just let me know in the comments. Just keep it kind. That's all I ask. But I would love to know some of the misses that you thought happened throughout 2019. If you guys have been liking the 2019 wrap-up videos, make sure that you give this one a thumbs up. I would also love if you would consider subscribing before you go. I do put out a lot of content over here, and I'd love if you stuck around. But other than that, that is it for today's video, and I'll just catch you guys in my next one. Bye.